weeks have started off maybe a little bit better than mine, as I was woken up this morning at 3:30 with Paw Patrol Cruiser ready to go. I'm sure all you parents know exactly what I'm talking about there, as that's what happens when your little guy just doesn't, or girl, doesn't like to sleep, and that's where I'm at now. But hey, he gave me an early start to the day here, so I'm back with my PGA DFS course and player preview for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. And listen, this is one of my favorite events of the year. Obviously, we are in sunny Florida for the next month, starting with last week at the Concession, a great course. So not only would you get sunny, beautiful skies and temperature all week, the weather has broke. We had a little cold spell for us here in Florida for a little bit, but it is broken. I'm looking outside right now. It's 8:15 in the morning, and it's already 75 degrees and sunny. We just love that, and so do the players. Players also get Bermuda greens here this week at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, and of course, all throughout Florida, they will have those. And certainly I bring that up because there are some people that it really, really matters for. Of course, we saw that last week with Billy Horschel. He even talked about how happy he was to be back on Bermuda. So let's go ahead and jump right into our course and player preview for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. It is played at Bay Hill Golf Club and Lodge. It's been here since the late 70s, one of the longest running tournaments on the PGA Tour. It was brought here to this area in the late 70s by Arnold Palmer. He bought the course in 1974, 1975, in that range, and it's been here ever since. Obviously, Arnold's pride and joy. He redesigned the course himself in the 2000s. It's a par 72 measuring just shy of 7,500 yards, almost identical to last week's. Driving accuracy, pretty easy to hit the fairways. Pretty much, I would say, not pretty easy. It's right in the middle. Averaged about 64% last year. But the greens, they were super hard to hit. Granted, we had some really weird windy weather last year. 57% was the greens in regulation. It normally averages about 60, so maybe a little bit down. Still, greens relatively hard to hit. Once you're on them, though, they are pretty easy. One of the easiest greens to putt on, top 5 last year out of 44 events. I already mentioned that the Bermuda is the grass type. Of course, the hardest hole, it's going to be the 9th this week, a par 4 that has a couple of twists and turns in it, so definitely a difficult hole there. All the par 5s are going to be your easiest holes of the week. In fact, they are the only holes that average over 10% of the DFS scoring. In fact, no other hole gets above 5% outside of those 4 par 5s. So certainly par 5 scoring, or your ability to score on par 5s this week. If you want to look for a stat, sure, par 5 scoring, but in essence, those stats on a week-to-week basis probably don't matter all that much. This week, par 5 scoring is certainly going to be in play. There are going to be 126 players here in the field this week. It is an invitational, so we have less players than we typically do for your normal PGA Tour event. Typically, the reason for this is because we have a lack of daylight time. Although, in Florida, we're not getting dark until 6:37 nowadays. So, again, I think it's just more of the prestigiousness of the event and the want of people to come. So right now, I have 132 supposed to be in. It might actually be 122. I might have had a typo there, so keep an eye out for that. We do have a bunch of sponsor invites, including also 3 of the world's top 10 here to compete, and 25, little more than 25, of the top 50 here, 27 on the exact one. That's before this most recent update as well, which I suspect we'll get a couple more in there. In terms of sponsor invites, it wouldn't be the Arnold Palmer Invitational if we didn't have Matt Every in it, the back-to-back winner there in 2014 and 15. He gets a nod. Another Matt Wallace, also getting an invite, as does Jason Duffner, a former winner. Will Gordon, he's put a nice cut streak together, the young talent. Graham McDowell, Padraig Harrington, a couple of Euro internationals. Keith Mitchell, who has back-to-back top 10s here at this course. He's getting a nod. Ian Poulter needs an invite. Brad Snedeker needs an invite. Even Eric Van Rooyen needs an invite. You can tell how popular this tournament is when guys like that, Snedeker, Van Rooyen, need a sponsor invite to play. Some other guys that you may not know, like John Augenstein, he's going to get his, I think, 4th or 5th start now, and he's got to get it going if he wants to have status on any tour, let alone just the Korn Ferry or PGA. He needs a big start here this week. The young, talented kid out of Florida State need something to get going. Kamimu Johnson, the young African-American player who gets a sponsor invite here this week. We learned about him at the Pebble Beach. And Genesis had to, of course, withdraw from that due to getting COVID, but gets a couple of more starts here in Florida. It'll be here this week at the Arnold Palmer and in a couple of weeks at the Honda Classic. So good for Mr. Johnson. Hopefully he gets through and makes some noise here this week. Charles Schwartzel, Steve Stricker also getting the nod, as well as Sung Kang, Camilo Villegas, and Matthias Schmidt. And let's talk for a second about Matthias Schmidt. He goes to the University of Louisville. Looks like he is still an amateur here. Looks like maybe he switched over to Clemson, but he is now ranked 17th in the world as an amateur, so certainly has some prospects coming up. Keep an eye on Mr. Schmidt as we go forward. Okay, so those cover basically all of the sponsor exemptions, at least here early on this Monday morning. And now let's go ahead and talk about our top-ranked player here this week, which is Tyrell Hatton. Believe it or not, in the OWGR category, he is above right now, which just kind of blows my mind, Rory McIlroy. I think that's something that I don't think any of us thought would happen, as we all suspected Rory McIlroy, of course, to continue his torrid stretch. But a bad stretch of golf for Rory with no wins. And I say bad, and I just mean bad in the sense that he hasn't won in a while. But still, Ty Hatton, number 6 in the world. I don't think, however, that DraftKings is going to price Tyrell Hatton above Rory McIlroy. That's just not going to happen. So we go into my top 5 salary guesses here of the week, which will end this short form video, which last week I did really good. I went 6 of 6 in terms of how they priced the golfers, maybe $100 off here or there on the actual pricing. So let's go ahead and start Rory McIlroy. He was 11-6 last year at this tournament. I think he's going to come in right around that same price. I have him at 11-5. I have Victor Hovland coming in at 11-1, who is just on an insane run of golf. Without his quad bogey last week, he would have been right there with Morikawa on Sunday. Ty Hatton in at 10-9, Bryson DeChambeau 10-7, Patrick Reed 10-5, followed by Sung J M at 9,800. So again, my salary guesses for the week: Rory 11-5, Victor 11-1, Ty Hatton 10-9, Bryson 10-7, and Patrick Reed 10-5, and Sung J M 9-8. So again, if you are watching this course and player preview before the salaries come out, great, you'll get my guesses. If you're listening to it after, go on and check and see how my work did, compare it. These are what I suspect the prices will be, so go ahead and check my work, of course. And if you're new to this channel, make sure you like and subscribe to make sure you get notified when these do come live, so you can catch them, and make sure you use the actionable advice in here. Last week we had a lot of Colin Morikawa in these videos, so hopefully you were able to profit there. So until next time, everybody, until my first clicks betting video coming out in probably half hour to an hour, we will see you on the other side, everybody. Again, thanks for joining, and good luck this week. Cheers.